So we watch role models, and when we watch scammers having a good time by stealing and all that scheming and basically telling big lies, and their lives are shown on Netflix, it becomes who's my camera and not. No, today I joined. I don't know why, but I had to join uh, as a participant. So maybe the noise is going to be from my end as a participant. Somehow it didn't let me get in as a host for whatever reason. So just bear up with it. It's not such a big thing. If it is, then I will call again. I'll disconnect the phone and then I'll call again. And hopefully this time it will stick. I can do that. So when we watch actors playing the role of famous campsters or controversial people, even if they are playing a negative role, and because we are watching it, they become role models. Just as when we are going to the Whole Food, we take care of the food that goes in. But we have to understand that as spiritual people, it's not only the food that goes in, it's your eyes, what you take in, what thoughts you take in. So the thoughts that you take in when you're watching a movie like that, oh, it's good. And then the intent maybe of the producer and directors, it's not really moral, it's just to have more eyeballs on your show and to make money by being popular. So being popular, they tend to show things that interest us, etc. And it all comes out that now we have negative people being shown in a positive light. So it becomes really interesting in the sense that now you see that it's not that the old question was, why do bad things happen to good people? Now the question is, why do good things happen to bad people? And there was a time when in an old story they were basically the fairy tales replicated in a modern sense. So you will have the good winning over the bad always. And then somewhere along in the 70s, etc., when there was a mistrust of the organization of the government as such, movies like Godfather came up, and Don Corleone etc. became hidden like role models to emulate for a lot of people. Even today in the meeting, someone told me, Tarun, don't take it personally. And really, this dialogue is from from Godfather when one of the gangsters is shooting the other one. Don't take it personally. So our standards get twisted when our role models are twisted. And most of the world is happy with that. 15 years ago, I think the movie came out super bad or what, and those movies had pot smoking heroes and they made a lot of money. And now pot is cool, not understanding that people who take pot for a long time, they have paranoia. And I have been asked to help people who were really desperate. And one of the most desperate cases was that a person who had been taking, not only had paranoia, because it's not a light drug. After some time, heavy usage of these drugs, of these recreational drugs they are called, does lead to paranoia because it's messing with your head. And one of the most extreme cases I saw was that the person was really healthy, was eating only no junk food, only organic, normal food, etc. But because of having smoked, the person's imagination had taken flight, or the reality was such. But he was carrying forward, and he came to me, Tarun, I think when the last time I took a shot, I took pot, I flew so high, I came back to this planet, and now someone else has taken over my place. He prayed, and hopefully that helped him. But all these things, he was smoking pot because he thought it was cool. Where is it coming from? Coming from the role models that it's okay. Some people will quote, will have Shiva as smoking bhang, etc. Once a year, it's a symbolical thing that you have to let go of the material world. and people take it a license to smoke. And I know of meditations where people are huge crowds are gathered because people are invited to eat uh, mushrooms, and then everyone was vomiting. People are invited to smoke, and they are told, "Okay, you will be enlightened." And I've shared this story before also. People spend around $7,000, 8,000, and they went to look Hawaii or someplace. And I asked, "So how is the meditation going around?" Yeah, in the morning they had a mantra, in the evening they had mantra in some sessions. And when there is a group of people, just like the Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, a lot of energy is gathered. But you will find the same gathered energy of wherever people with one objective are accumulated. You go, I went to some, was invited to some baseball match or something. There was so much in the stadium, there was so much amount of wild energy. So it's not a big thing. This energy thing is not a big thing. Anyone can, you can go to a mindless game of baseball where people are jumping and throwing air in a sack from here to there, and everyone is very excited. Or you can go to a baseball where someone throws a small ball, other one hits it, and when people are very happy. You will feel the wild energy in every place that people are accumulating. It's not a big deal. And when you throw in the combination of pot, etc., it becomes even more erratic. And all these leads to different. I felt good. I felt bad. And sometimes people have told me after this session, I felt bad. And it's really important for this group to know that since our intent as a group is to assist each one of us in healing, whether the person feels good or bad, that we try to help is immaterial. 90% of the time when you will work with someone, the next day they will probably say, because you are going to be making them breathe in, out, Om Namah Shiva or something. We are just the catalyst. The other person has to do some exercise of praying with the heart open, or Om Namah Shiva, or any prayer with breathe in and out, and releasing all the stress in the body, which is his universe. So of course they will feel better. But sometimes these releases will be accompanied by next day not feeling not so good. What's the answer to that? It's just that it's in the person's mind. Within 3 days, trust the prayers and the praying and your own healing, whatever you're doing, it will balance out by the fourth day, because the person has done the praying with you, because the person has done something to let go. That thing will be let go. He or she will be in a different plane, but when within the next 72 hours, your thinking and your thoughts and your value systems can go up and down, even sometimes value systems. So you know that your intent is pure. So our intent in this group is for everyone to be free, to be the real hero. Now, nowadays, the whole society is going through a lot of very, very strange times, when after 2 years of COVID, now there is a war on, and a lot of people are questioning, is there a nuclear war and this and that? And in these strange times, a couple of times I have been asked, oh, so how is this happening that the people who told lies, etc., they made so much amount of money and they're having a good life and all that? And I have to explain to them that no, the people in a spiritual group are the real heroes, because whatever money you make it honestly. And then that $1 that you make honestly is equal to $1,000,000 that another person has stolen. And of course, in the real material world, it is very laughable. How can this guy is a security guard and he made around like the minimum pay, while I'm a CEO and I made so much. And the CEO can also be okay, provided the CEO is making honest money. It's not about how much, but about being honest. To have that, your role models have got to be very, very simple and pure people, like Buddha. But who now speaks about Buddha when I don't see one serial about Buddha on the Netflix? I see only the inventing Anna and Tinder swindler and all those, and we scams and we work and we crash and all those, and they're interesting. I watch them, but by putting forward negative heroes as the center of focus of movies and all, everyone is becoming inspired. Maybe the directors can say, we showed this as a moral story that crime doesn't pay, that all these guys are in jail or not in jail or got away with something. So we wanted to show you a moral story. But the end result is that the people who watch it, especially the people who are younger, they become inspired to be like that. They become inspired that for the sake of money, it's okay to do anything. And the moment that happens, your value system has crashed. You have become poor, even if you make billions of dollars, but your value system has crashed to make that billion. It's easy, very easy nowadays to make bad money, to make uh, immoral money. Toronto happens to be, my daughter was saying, Toronto is the capital of sugar daddies. So here is a 24-year-old college student and she feels stressed about her college loan. She goes on the website and puts up her name and she finds a super sugar daddy, someone 60s or older than me or around or 50s who has got more money than they, and they want to be hanging around with a 20-year-old. And from the interviews that I saw, they are happy. Both of them are happy. So what's wrong? Nothing. If both have a consensus, nothing is wrong. But this very act of taking money for a relationship makes that young person not in the minds of the universe, mind you, the universe is somewhat cold, is not so judgmental. But in the mind of that person itself, that person becomes a public, a public figure, for lack of a better word. And then they become suicide. Even with all the honest money on the planet nowadays, people can get depressed. When you have dishonest money and you have a judgment against yourself, you are going not to be able to enjoy whatever immoral money you have, even if it is billion. You can have comfort, for sure. You can have Gucci and Lucci and Armani and all that, but you will feel miserable. And when I was asked even 2 days ago, I was in some place, the house was beautiful and everything was beautiful, but the people were really depressed and on a point of divorce and all that and drugs, etc. Because the money was stolen money. Then it's also very absurd. A young lady, she bought a house and the house is beautiful, rather an apartment, but the apartment has got, after the first initial payment of 100,000, has now it's like $3,000 per month mortgage. Not $3,000, $3,000. Now, at a job, the person is forced to become a semi compromising person, because if the job goes, then she won't be able to afford the 3,000. So the house, the apartment is beautiful, the lifestyle is beautiful, but the person knows of the compromises that she has to do for the manager. And this is a true story. And suicide. Not only her 20-year-old is also suicidal. Not only her. This is a true story. Her 20-year-old is also suicidal. She sees the mama, she sees the manager coming home, calling home, and generally like being very, very abusive and as if he owns her and all that. And daughter also becomes depressed. So there are chains of happiness and chains of unhappiness also. So today I'm going to be sharing a story with you. I'm now what I would consider a dinosaur. But when I was growing up, the stories in the storybooks and the school curriculum, they were like the literature that we had to read was Tale of Two Cities and classics, all of them, and Dostoevsky and all those. So the classics are very, very strict on moral values. You'll find that very strict. And now it's all about Harry Potter. Now the children's literature is all Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter, or some escapist, something like that. Also, very, very like soft, magical, wishful thinking. But okay, at least it got people to read. But the value systems are very strange because Harry Potter, etc., are magical people, and then they have a judgment on the others. But it's a different story. But the point is that it's a magical land where some sort of moral is. In the real world, nothing is. The children are very, very desperate for right role models, and they don't have any. Their models are going to be what? Someone who can sing, someone who can dance, or someone who can be on the TikTok doing something wild or something, but not the reality. They don't have any real role models because they see the society is going through a crisis and they are also going. So we need to be providing them with our non-judgmental, pure valued life. Like you want to be happy and enlightened, the first rule is that you have to be living honestly within your means. There's a lady who regularly calls every 3 months and she says, oh yes, I'm driving, I go to the church every day, but I drive a Mercedes. So because I work as in a very low paying job. So because my husband stole a lot of money and his money, and I had to explain it like if you're so suicidal and depressed, then just live within the amount of money that you make. Even if you want to live in welfare, even then you might end up happier than having all that dirty money in your life and you have no happiness. You're always depressed and suicidal. Because that's what bad money does. You can have a house, but when you go into the house, you will find that the children will be wild, will be into drugs. The parents stole the money thinking that we are going to be giving our kids a better education, this and that, and then the kids take over to drugs, etc., because that's what bad money or money that was earned immorally does. Right money may do that, but the chances are slim. It still can happen that some backup karma can come up from some past life or something, but the chances are less. With bad money, the children 100% are going to be having problems. 100%, 110%. So, when our moral values are getting shaken because the role models in the culture are driven after 70s from are grayish like Michael Corleone, and they are the ones who are quoted, and everyone is so glad about inventing Anna, and all these people are geniuses because they were able to manipulate others by telling truths in a very wild. The truths, the lies that they told was so big that everyone considered them to be truth. Anyway, that was one of the key structures, and they told it very confidently, and they scammed a lot of people. It caused a lot of all that dropout, which is about the lady who told everyone that she has found a way that from one blood drop you can have all the tests done, etc. And everyone believed her because she would tell everyone, "You're going to be missing out on the next Apple." And she dressed to look like Steve Jobs, and you're going to be missing out on investing in Apple. And all the people, they would give her all the money invested in her, including the ones who control this world to some extent, like Rupert Murdoch, etc. Gave her millions of dollars, but she had a handle on everyone. She would tell them the things that they wanted. She would tell the really super rich, "You are super rich, but you could be super rich if you would invest in me because I'm like the Apple starting over." And they do. Because they have a fear factor. You would think that rich people are comfortable and they would say, no, this is like, I can check it out for $100 or $1,000 by this. But they like the idea so much that they believe it. So now our culture is flooded with anti-heroes that are being taken as role models. So where is the contrast? And I'll tell you a contrast today. India has always been a poor country, but it was also a it was also the British Raj. It was a colony of British. So the British brought over the system of taxation and the policing and all that. It was all taken from them. So in one of the stories, and at one time, salt was taxed in India because the British found a way to tax the people. So they started to tax even consumption and not consumption, but produce, which is just salt, would be just lying around the sea and sale. And it's a historical fact. Gandhi took it up as his major cause for his revolution. So the story is that one newly appointed young police inspector is giving guard on a road at a checkpoint, and a truck comes laden with salt. And the inspector is young, fresh. He says, there is a tax on that needs to be paid on this truck with salt. The truck driver says, I don't know. Usually we had an arrangement and we would give you this much amount of money. And he says, I don't take any money. This tax, I'm the new inspector and this tax needs to be paid. And he confiscates the truck. It's not allowed to cross over. So the owner of the truck and the salt comes and he says, I'm the big shot of this city in which you live. I'll make your life miserable if you don't let this pass over. I know everyone. I know your superiors. And this says, I've been dealing with them. I says, I don't care. The inspector says, I don't care who you know, whether you know my superiors, whether you know where I live. I'm the inspector. I'm being told to collect taxes on any salt that crosses the border. I'm at the checkpoint. I'm not going to allow it. So the millionaire of that time gets very angry and he calls up his bosses, etc. And his bosses, everyone says, look, till the time this inspector is on duty, our hands are tied because he's on the right. So till the time he's doing that, we can't do anything. And the millionaire is very frustrated and humiliated by this young inspector who makes nothing in comparison to what this millionaire does. So the millionaire has to wait out when this inspector's duty is finished. The next inspector comes who is more malleable, more acceptable. He knows from previous dealings, etc. And the story then picks up from the evening in the house of the inspector. As expected, the millionaire went to the bosses, complained about this guy as being very, very arrogant. And this newly appointed inspector, and it's always a big thing, is, always will be to get a good job, especially with the government. He has now been laid off. So he's sitting in his house in the evening. He has been laid off. Of course, no matter how philosophical or pragmatical you are still sad you have been laid off. Till yesterday, you are an inspector with power. Today, you are nothing, no job, nothing, no. So now comes the millionaire. Knocks on to this poor inspector's, poor person's house now. The person opens, it's the law of civility. Says, yes, come in, sit down. And the expectation is that the millionaire has come to see how the mighty have fallen. But the inspector is still calm about it. When you are on the morally, you are on the right. Nothing should be able to shake you. If you have taken money, you're always going to be having fears. If you are morally right, nothing, not even death can shake you. So he's out there. And the millionaire says to him, You remember, you know what happened. He says, yeah, of course I know. He says, you have been laid off because of me, you know that. He says, yes, I know that. Now the millionaire says that, why do you think I've come? He says, probably to see and gloat over me. Millionaire says, no. I value your honesty. From tomorrow, you're going to be my senior manager of all my factories and works. Your honesty has shaken. So these are old classics in which the good always wins. Now, if you will give it to a modern writer, he will, of course, give it a twist and this and that. But the society where these stories sprung up had a very strong value system. And that value system now is shaken at all levels. At all levels. Prime president to the lowest levels, there is not much inspirational going now. So you have to find that inspiration inside yourself. Stop looking outside, enjoy the world. But you are the final judge. And the easiest way to do it is close your eyes and imagine Shiva in your heart. Or today it is, Shiva in your hand. And the Shiva is unconditionally smiling, blessing everything and everyone. And the mantra of the Shiva always is Mahamrityunjay mantra. It is the Swiss knife, the three mantras that we use always. Om Namah Shivaya. Mahamrityunjay, Om Triambakam Yajamhe, Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam, Urvaruknan Vitir Mokshemam Bata. And the mantra Gayatri. So today we will use again Mahamrityunjay, but today you are going to be asking from Shiva the gift of strength, always to be having a smiling heart while retaining your value system. And what is the value system at the end of the day? Anything that makes in your heart the golden light less is against your value. Anything that increases it or maintains it is within your value system. You don't have to fall into the error of thinking this or that. Just see your golden light and see yourself committing whatever is the choice and see whether the light is growing up or going down. And when we are using the mantra, see the mantra as a higher power than your capacities and capabilities to think, capability to feel. So spot, etc., everything can affect your thinking and your emotions, etc. And people say this was good, it was bad. Doesn't matter. What is important is that there is a change. And when the intent is there, that I want to be like Shiva, self-sacrificing, with a pure value system of my own. I am my own hero or heroine. With that, you go forward in life. And the mantra, you bow down to it. Then you become an instrument in the hands of mantra instead of being those people who, I will learn the mantra. And there are stories like that, tons of stories in which the demons, they use these mantras to achieve powers over others. So that's what made them demons. You have to use the mantra to bow down to it, become an instrument in the hands of the mantra. Think of the mantra as your master, not you becoming the master. And then you will see the grace flowing through you. So that is the end objective. Starting the mantra 108 times. And you are going to let go of everything that makes you small and see yourself as Shiva in your heart with a pure value system. Om Triambakam Yajamhe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam उर्वारुक्नान् मृत्योर्मुक्षेमामृतात् ॐ त्र्यम्बकमिजामे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुक्नान् मृत्योर्मुक्षेमामृतात् ॐ त्र्यम्बकमिजामे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुक्नान् मृत्योर्मुक्षेमामृतात् ॐ त्र्यम्बकमिजामे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुक्नान् मृत्योर्मुक्षेमामृतात्. May the holy fire in my hand remove all your doubts, pain, fear, anger, so that you see, become with the power of the mantra, enslaving you, become pure and golden, full of the value system of your own. The first value is never hurting anyone, never creating disharmony. Very simple rule. ॐ त्र्यम्बकमिजामे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुक्नान् मृत्योर्मुक्षेमामृतात् 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 Om Tringa Jame Sugandhi Pushiyardhanam Muraratnam Nitirmukshim Amratat. 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 Om Triambakam Jame Sugandhi Pushiyardhanam Muraratnam Nitirmukshim Amratat. Om Tringa 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 Jame Sugandhi Pushiyardhanam Muraratnam Nitirmukshim Amratat. Jame Sugandhi Pushiyardhanam Muraratnam Nitirmukshim Amratat. Om Tringa 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 Jame Sugandhi Pushiyardhanam Muraratnam Nitirmukshim Amratat. Om Shanti 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 Shanti. Om Shanti 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 Shanti. So the group is going to be praying for everyone in the group. Om Pakami Sugandhim Pushiyardhanam Muraratnam Nitirmukshim Amratat. Sasha Om Triambakam Jame Sugandhim Pushiyardhanam Muraratnam Nitirmukshim Amratat Ji. Om Triambakam Jame Sugandhim Pushiyardhanam Muraratnam Nitirmukshim Amratat Dayana. Om Triambakam Jame Sugandhim Pushiyardhanam Muraratnam Nitirmukshim Amratat Jinya. Om Triambakam Jame Sugandhim Pushiyardhanam Muraratnam Nitirmukshim Amratat Galya. Om Triambakam Jame Sugandhim Pushiyardhanam Muraratnam Nitirmukshim Amratat Hal. Om Triambakam Jame Sugandhim Pushiyardhanam Muraratnam Nitirmukshim Amratat Healer. Om Triambakam Jame Sugandhim Pushiyardhanam Muraratnam Nitirmukshim Amratat Jin. Om Tringa Yajame Sugandhim Pushtivardanam Urvarakam Vitirmokshemamratat Cat. Om Tringa Yajame Sugandhim Pushtivardanam Urvarakam Vitirmokshemamratat Larisa. Om Tringa Yajame Sugandhim Pushtivardanam Urvarakam Vitirmokshemamratat Marina. Om Tringa Yajame Sugandhim Pushtivardanam Urvarakam Vitirmokshemamratat Priti. Om Tringa Yajame Sugandhim Pushtivardanam Urvarakam Vitirmokshemamratat. Om Shanti 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 Shanti. Being morally pure has its own advantages and is its own price. It may not come in the material world, but by being pure and having the moral system, sticking to the your own particular moral. I am not really moral, so I don't really speak about moral, but I would speak about value system. Sticking to your value system will make you super strong. And when you compromise with your value system, then that will make you just ordinary suffering consumer. So select whatever value system has got simple parameter once more. Your golden heart, ask if I do this, will my golden heart be less powerful or more powerful? With a golden heart, everything else is just on this planet is just a children's game. It's not really like just participate in it, but without being too serious about it. Om Namah Shivaya. Imagine Shiva inside yourself, always, so that it crystallizes and becomes a part of your value system in your heart. Om Namah Shivaya. And have a smiling heart. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. I'm stopping